Stay after the outro to see a sneak peek at the next BLOB film video. Hello everyone, it is the Green Blob here. Today we're going to be doing the final episode of Season 3. This is the World Tour, Episode 50. But before I start off looking at the tunnels, I want to start where we started off at the beginning of the season, which was down here in this little tunnel. Now I have blocked off access to it in the past because I don't see it as useful anymore, but it still exists, and I feel like I should still commend it for still existing. So here is my storage system. I doubt there's anything... yeah, pretty much everything here is just... I guess there's a couple things in here. What is that book, by the way? Blast Protection and Impaling. Cool. Useless book, because this is the end of the season. Here was my enchanting table setup. I did a time-lapse for this. Here is the wheat field. Here is the sugarcane farm. Here is the tree farm. Here is the cow and sheep farm, now gotten rid of because there was a lot of lag in the world, so I had to kill all of them all. Here is a infinite water source, a cactus farm, a nether portal, and here I could look outside of a ravine, which I thought was pretty cool. Here would just take me down to where I would mine for stuff. And back up here, this is my cloning room, which I used to film the time-lapse. You may be wondering what happened to the other green blob after the time-lapse. Well, I'm not sure I can tell you. Down here in the nether, I didn't really do much. I did kind of build a wall, though, and that's just because up here was a ghast thing. Well, there was a whole bunch of ghast spawning over here, and I built this wall just so they wouldn't attack me. Back on the surface now, I figure I'm going to start with Season 1. So, over here, this was the first build I built, and yeah, just let me take you through it real quick. Now, this whole series was inspired by Venturing Tale and his series called Minecraft Tale, and he did 4 seasons of that. And one time in an episode, he is like, "I can't play on Minecraft anymore. The world's gone." And I thought, well, oh no, he can't seem to play on the world. That means the world is gone. And so I thought, well, why don't I rebuild all his builds in one world? And before I made this world, I made the Venturing Tale fan map world. And in that world, I did basically the same thing, except I did not get every single accurate measurement to the... that was, very close to the original thing. Instead, I just went from memory and also mixed a whole bunch of the builds together in a small space. And I believe I explain every room in detail as I go through the episodes. So if you have any problem with knowing what room is what, then just go watch the other episodes. So, yeah. Here was the mine. Yep. over here was the pool. Here's the upstairs. Actually, over here they had another farm, but I couldn't build that because the windows are in the way. And actually, I should probably seal in the void, so that way, no one can see what evil things are behind there. Okay, so upstairs now is the upstairs. Here we have the rocket platform, which I don't actually have the rockets, and that's because I don't have the mods installed, and because they don't make those mods for me on my platform. There was another thing he put in the series, which said HG Homeless Goomba, which is one of the people on their channel. But I guess I just didn't put it in there. Also, I missed this. Up here is the water fountain. No, the waterfall, and they hooked it up to make it a water slide. Alright, on to the next build now. I just realized how long this video is going to be, because I spent the first 6 minutes just looking at two things, and this is just going to be an insane world, I can tell. But yeah. Up here, I'm going to just not fly through this. Hopefully you got a good enough sense of what was there. There's this way up. This house was destroyed by a troll. They had a troll in one of the mod packs they were using. If that makes any sense. And then over here was their mine thing, which actually doesn't lead anywhere at the moment. And here was their sand desert temple, which they spawn next to. Next one here is a cave, and it has a bit of a entrance, but this entrance isn't really anything important. The entrance is just there because I needed to tie it in. Since this build is centered in the middle of a huge building plot, I needed to tie in the entrance of that build to this one, so the tunnel doesn't actually serve any lore purpose like it was actually in the series. But yeah, also, this whole space was a lot bigger in the series, and that's because it was also eaten by a troll. I'm so annoyed by the doors just not letting me jump at the right time, or just trying to make me jump when I just want to go through the door. This one is the most pitiful of all the builds that I've done. This one was their moon base. This was when they actually went to the moon. But yeah, I don't even have the interior. I basically just have the build, and that's it. So yeah, that's all you're gonna get from me from this one. But if you do want to see a more complete one, I recommend going to the Venturian Tale fanboy series and looking at my Venturian Tale fan map videos. I probably should also mention it. We also had tunnels, which I worked vigorously throughout live streams to try and finish, but I did not get all finished. This leads back to the first increment of builds. So yeah, it just all loops around basically. But I did not finish all the tunnels though. All right, now we're on season 2. If you can see that 2 in the background. So over in here, so yeah, that's not supposed to be there. Hopefully you guys can just ignore that. Here is my attempt at covering up the tunnel. My terraforming definitely gets better as the series progresses, though. Here was, yeah, I did this very early on in the series, which is why it's not looking so great. This just loops back around up to this one. This one, uh, just a room he used to hide. Don't fall down into the pit. Down in here, there's this room. It looks like all the torches are removed at the moment. I could have sworn there was torches in here, but I guess they're all gone. And then this winds around to here, and this was their lookout tower. Here is their gravestones, which they did for a little while, but then got really off track doing the gravestones when they got bored of it. Also, like I said, multiple tunnels are not finished. I'm also sorry if the commentary in this one is not as good as my other World Tour videos, because there's just so much content in this world that I can't even pack it into like me just talking about it, because I know I'll just rant for a long time, and this video will be probably over an hour long. Maybe I should have done it into a live stream, I don't know. Down here now is the dirt and cobblestone thing, and they were only at this place for a little bit because one of them had infected cobblestone in their inventory. And if you don't know what infected cobblestone is, you probably know what silverfish is. And silverfish, oh, they love to destroy your builds when they're in stone or cobblestone or whatever. So now we'll go on to the next build. I'm probably going to edit this video anyways, so I'm probably going to edit that out. Okay, so now this is the next build. This is the Isaac's Tower. It doesn't actually go anywhere. Well, I mean, it goes to the top of it, but it's empty. It's just a facade. That doesn't go anywhere. That doesn't go anywhere. This was... I'm forgetting the name. I don't think it had a name. It was just called Mountain House, or that's the name I've given it because it didn't have a name. This was their checkerboard floor, which Venturian hated because checkerboard patterns shouldn't exist in his mind, because he has, well, he gives off a in his channel, he gives off a presence of OCD. So over here is here is the lava fountain. I'm like, okay, I just need to restart. Give me a couple seconds. Okay, I'm redoing this take because I didn't like what I did before. I didn't say anything inappropriate or anything. I completely stammered and lost all of my speaking ability. But this place had a checkerboard pattern, which one of the main characters didn't like because I guess he has OCD or something. Here was that. So now I'm going to this one. Here was the lava fountain, and here was, I guess this was supposed to be a glass walkway, but it never got finished, but I had to put it in because it is a build, and that is the requirements of this, that all the builds need to be in here. Well, not all, in their best state possible, and also have to fit the restrictions of this place. But here, you see I made an exception. See how this peeks into the wall? Um, that's because, yeah, I ran out of space, and I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. I don't want to spend more hours tweaking everything, moving everything over by one thing with the clone command, and then just having everything blend together. Also, I'm going to fix this glass block. This is the last build of Season 2. I just did this episode yesterday. Here is their Donuts Tower. They thought the pink wool block looked like donuts. Here is the Koopa Castle. This was a tunnel that went throughout an entire mountain. This entire Koopa Castle is supposed to be on a mountain, but there's limited space in here, so I didn't do the mountain. Down here is Immortal's base. Here they had a pond. She had a pond, and this is the entrance. Here it was the throne room. Yep. Here is the tree farm. And I put string over it so that way none of the trees grow and it makes it ugly. They also Isaac. This is the person who owned it. Had he blew up the tree farm, and then there was one log left, and he put a golden pressure plate on that, and said it looks like toast, and so I put that in the build. I also forgot to show the void. They also had this parkour castle, which had this golden prize room, which I am going to do what I did in the last video, which is go watch the original video, and you'll see not my original video, but the actual original world to see what was in there. Here was Bethany's place. I'm just gonna say the characters' names, even though you're probably not gonna know who's who. So yeah, no, let's go into the next one. Alright, here is Veturian's room. This is just a huge area. Here is the bedroom of the Koopa Castle. Over here is a room where if auto jump would not be so stupid and jump every second that I'm in a doorway. So over here is... Okay, you probably saw that I ended that clip very abruptly. I kind of lost my cool. I lost my cool. Here was a guard post which they had on top of the stairwell. Here is a pond they had. Over here is a roller coaster to space they had. Obviously summarized because the original thing would have gone to like 128 blocks because that was the original world height, and it's only going to 87 right now because that's how high it can go because of the ceiling. Now on to Season 3. So this was the... I'm actually forgetting about the name of the house. It was the Torch House. Oh my goodness, I'm going to lose it. I did not actually finish that, so don't worry about that. This was the bedroom, which I did not finish that either. I thought I had finished all these, but I did not. That's not finished either. Okay, I guess this build is also incomplete. Much like the moon base before. However, he did install mods on this series as well, and went to a dimension called the Aether, with an Aether portal that looked somewhat similar to like this, except without the signs to hold in the water. So here was his house. and I've taken some creative liberties with how things look. Like this path block, originally, how it looked in the series was it was like a golden grass. Also, the trees, they do not look pretty much anything like their original counterpart. But this was a floating island in the sky, and the thoughts were that, like, you know how the Nether is like the underworld. This would be like, and then like there's the overworld. This would be heaven, I guess. Down here is the dungeon, uh, which I had plans to put stuff in. But from season three, I feel like this was the most impressive build uh, in the season three category, not in season three, the entirety of this season three. There's a lot of seasons going on that I can't. It's hard to distinguish between the two. This next one is broken into three parts because the builds in them were took up so little space that I did not want to give them their own plot. So here is this place. You may also be wondering why there's so many yellow flowers outside. A YouTube commenter called Kylo Ren challenged him to build a yellow flower army. This down here was his underwater house, and I gotta fly because it's so slow going up water. And this mountain is only here because um, he fought a giant zombie. This mountain is only here because he fought a giant zombie because he was using mods, like I said before. And then down here is another room. Okay, so here was where he slept, and here was his first Aether portal. So the first build in Season 3 had a basement, and in that basement there was a water feature which connected into a very hole, into a hole. There was a water feature that connected into a hole, and the thought was that these two builds would be connected. In the original world they were, but not in this one because of limited space. So this is just basically where he would come down, and this whole place is so huge is because he blew it up with TNT. Here is just tunnels leading to the next build, underground. This was his underground torch house. This is also where he mined obsidian, by the way. Here is where he had a fireplace, and that fireplace, as you can see, is not very protected, and his house did catch on fire one time. That's that room. Here is this. He had a mushroom over here called Steve. Here is the Aether portal. Here is the Nether portal. Here is another mine entrance. Now going on to Season 4, which I like the least. Again, if you want to, if you are interested in any of the builds that I show you, you can either go watch the original episode where I built it, or you can go watch the original Let's Play where they built the original build. But this, yeah, there's this. This over here, they had a creeper explosion and they turned it into a cobblestone pool. By the way, these stone pressure plates give you speed, so that way it's not as slow when you're trying to go through all these builds. Here is a build which which was Michael's house, I guess. That was the name of the person who owned it. And yeah, I did not bother decorating it because Like I said, season 4 is the one I dislike the most. Here are all their barns. Here they have a couple pens here. Here is their horse barn, and here is their bunny farm. And this is the builds I think are the most pitiful. This is a swamp hut, which they converted into a home when they were looking for slimes. And this was their storage place, but very poorly done. I didn't even look up any reference images as to what that thing looked like. So now, everyone, that is the end of the season, and I want to ask you all, should I do season 4? And if I do season 4, uh, should it be 20 episodes or should it be 50? But that's going to do it for today. So hopefully you guys like, hopefully you guys comment, hopefully you guys subscribe. Hopefully after you guys subscribe, hit the bell. And I'll see you all again next time. Also visit the channels, link down in the description. Oh no.